Welcome to the 23rd week after Pentecost. It is Tuesday, October the 29th, 2024. This is the Manna at the Tap podcast, where we as a community actively seek the spiritual nourishment our souls crave. The daily lectionary reading we explore together is the manna, designed to nurture our spiritual growth and provide the sustenance our souls need. I'm Gloria, your fellow traveler on this spiritual journey, and together we share insights and interpretations from these readings that enrich our spiritual lives. The lectionary reading today is Psalm 28, verses 1 to 9, as David calls on Yahweh to hear his urgent request for help. He relies on no one else but Yahweh, because Yahweh is his rock and protection. The rock is a metaphor symbolizing strength and stability. It is a stable foundation, a place of refuge. David is asking Yahweh to provide a secure place for him to escape life's dangers and challenges and not to turn a deaf ear, but to hear his cry for mercy. If Yahweh turns a deaf ear to him and remains silent, David said he would become like others whose prayers Yahweh does not answer, and he will end up in the pit. The pit seems to refer to the lowest pit where the dead reside, according to Psalm 30, verse 3. David's posture is one of hands lifted toward the Holy of Holies as he cries and calls out to Yahweh to hear his pleas for mercy. His plead for mercy relates to asking Yahweh to be gracious to him. So, using the imagination, we can see that David's hands are not lifted in a celebratory fashion. His hands are lifted in the posture of a person who is desperate and whose only help and hope is Yahweh. The people of the Old Testament believed that Yahweh lived in the midst of Israel, meaning in the city with them. So, like a needy child reaching up its hands to be picked up by its father, David's outreached hands were towards the tabernacle, the place of the innermost sanctuary, the holies of holies. Now, David does not identify his enemies, but he does describe their character and the outcome he wanted for their destiny. He called them wicked and workers of evil. They were deceitful because they hid the evil in their hearts, yet they spoke peace to their neighbors. He prayed that Yahweh would not judge him or sweep him away with the wicked. But he urged Yahweh to give the wicked what they deserved because they ignored and rejected the works of Yahweh's hand, which are seen in nature, creation, and redemption. Yahweh expects not only thanks and praise, but also obedience. The wicked are unbelieving, refusing to see the truth, and David asserts that in the end, the wicked will be torn down and not built up. David began his prayer by asking Yahweh to hear his plea and not remain silent. He then requested that Yahweh deal with his enemies. And as we turn to the closing verses, David blesses Yahweh for hearing his plea for help. He looks forward to Yahweh answering his prayer because his prayer was by Yahweh's word and character. Yahweh's character is described as faithful and good, and David celebrates it as his strength and shield. Yahweh is the one his heart trusts and the one who helped him, so his heart is ecstatic. David responded with a song of thanksgiving, a psalm, a simple song of praise. Yahweh answered David's prayers, but he is not only for David. Yahweh is the strength of his people, those associated with his anointed one, the Messiah. He is their stronghold of salvation. David's confidence in Yahweh culminates in four staccato prayers in verse 9. He will ask Yahweh to save his people, bless his inheritance, shepherd them, and lift them forever. These four requests remind us of Yahweh's shepherding the people of Israel through the wilderness to the promised land. He delivered them from danger, and he gave them all good things. He cared for them like a shepherd, and he carried the wayward and injured sheep on his shoulder.